Hey everyone, thank you for joining me. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Michelle with STERIS Corporation, and I'm happy to report that although you love your workhorse 3085 tables, you have recently upgraded to the 4085 general surgical tables. So I just wanted to take a minute and go over some of the primary differences between the 3085 that you're so used to and the new 4085s that you now have on site in all of your ORs. Now, the thing that we're going to talk about primarily, because all of you know how to use surgical tables, are some of the differences between the 3085 specifically and the 4085. And one of the very first things I want you to notice is the base of the table. The base of the table, you will quickly notice, is pretty much flip-flopped from what you're used to with the 3085. What does that mean? That means that the long end of the base is now at the foot. The short end of the base is now up here near the head at anesthesia's end. What does that mean to you? Well, there's a lot that involves imaging and C-arm access, which we'll get into. But the primary thing that I want to bring up as it relates to the base and the configuration is the real estate and where that real estate is located. So as you all know, anesthesia is accustomed to placing the SCD up here on the base of the table underneath the patient head. Normally on the 3085 that worked fine and you didn't have any problems. It can be quite problematic on the 4085, so I want to encourage you and anesthesia to put that SCD either on the floor in front of the base, hang it on the side rail, or find an alternative location for it, because when it gets placed on this base, patient's draped, nobody can tell where that is, and it gets pushed up against this column and the shroud, and when the table is raised and lowered, it can crack that shroud and cost you money to replace. So I would encourage you not to place your SCD on the base. At the anesthesia's head end of the base, you will notice there's a nice blue and white label that is the weight claim. I'm going to tell you what the weight claims are and how they differ from the 3085, but you don't have to memorize it because you can always look right down here to find out. So the 3085 in normal orientation held 1,000 pounds and in reverse orientation holds 500 pounds. The good news is no more reverse orientation. Well, there are actually two reasons why you would use reverse orientation on the 4085, but we'll go over that in a second. So now with the 4085 table, you have the ability to slide the tabletop. So when we talk about weight claims, there are three weight claims that you should be aware of, all three listed on this label below. The first one is the tabletop centered over the column, height up and down only, and that's 1,100 pounds. The primary one is 1,000 pounds, and that's the tabletop centered over the column with full articulations. You can do steep T-bird, you can do left and right tilt, you can do up and down, you can do any of the articulations and hold up to 1,000 pounds when the tabletop is centered over the column. Now, when you slide the tabletop to the head or to the foot, whether it be 1 inch or 9 inches, your weight capacity goes to 600 pounds. So looking at the hand control, we have a nice LCD screen up here that will give us an indication of what we're doing and what we're trying to do with the hand control. The first thing you'll notice is the slide to the foot and slide to the head. We talked about reverse orientation with the 3085 and C-arm access as it relates to C-arm access. Now you no longer have to reverse the patient. You can slide the tabletop to the foot for 43 inches of lower body C-arm access, or you can slide the tabletop to the head for 43 inches of upper body C-arm access. Let's take a look at the removable leg section on the 4085. On the 3085, you're accustomed to lowering the leg section out of the way. You no longer have to do this. You have the option to remove the leg section. And it's very easy. This is a nice 14-pound featherweight leg section, very light. And what I tell everybody is take your hands and place them right in the middle of the leg section, just what you would think is the middle. There will be two levers there. You can take your hands, pull that out, and then pull it straight out. Everyone see these levers? Important to note that you don't have to do anything with these levers when you go to put this back on the table. But before we do that, let me show you one other thing. When you remove the leg section, you have the ability with the hand control to lower the leg section and get the receptacles tucked in and out of the way. And when the receptacles are tucked in and out of the way, you can get full slide of the table to head and to foot. So if we're going to reapply the leg section, no need to hold these levers to do it. You just take the leg section, line it up, and insert it. There are 3 ways that I always tell people that you should confirm that you have inserted the leg section appropriately. First of all, you heard the loud click, the audio part of it. Secondly, there's a visual. You can see there's a green line here. You want to make sure that you don't see the yellow line, you only see the green line. And the third, I always tell everyone, is just a quick safety check. Once you've plugged it in, give it a quick tug back and make sure that it's locked in on both sides. So I know that one of the things you all love about your 3085 is that you can take the head section off and place it at the foot section when setting up for lithotomy procedures. The good news is you can still do that with the 4085. So you unscrew the locking knobs, pull the head section out, bring it to the foot, and lock it down in place. Now you've got a place for the patient's legs until you get them in lithotomy. So another thing that's different from your 3085 is the hand control on the 4085. The first thing you'll notice is the LCD readout at the top. This is an indicator giving you all sorts of feedback on the smart hand control as to what you're doing, what you're articulating, and the status of the bed, unlock, lock, the battery status, etc. So at the very top, you'll see we've got slide head and slide foot. So as we talked about, you have the ability to slide your tabletop to the head or to the foot for C-arm access. So we can slide to the head. The next is height up and down. We can go back up and down. And it's important to note that we have more articulation, more movement on the 4085 in certain configurations than we do on the 3085. We can go leg down. For instance, Trendelenburg and reverse Trendelenburg, you have up to 30 degrees Trendelenburg or reverse Trendelenburg. Tilt left and right, 20 degrees capability as opposed to 18 on the 3085. Flex and reflex. And kidney bridge. So that's another thing that's different from your 3085. The kidney bridge on your 3085 is the manual crank located under the head section. And on the 4085, it's automatic on your hand control. So you can press and hold kidney up, which brings us to another feature on the 4085 that is different from the 3085. We call it the auto limit sensor, ALS for short, on the hand control. And what that is it's telling us if any section of the surgical table is going to collide with another section of the surgical table. Important to note that the ALS does not detect foreign objects such as an arm board or an SCD placed on the base, but it will detect another section of the table and prevent collision and damage to your surgical table. So in this instance, when I try to press kidney up, nothing happens. I look at the LCD screen and it says back up. So it's telling us what we need to do and how we need to articulate the bed in order to continue with that kidney bridge that we want to raise. So it's telling me to back down, lower the back down. So I'm going to press and hold back down. And you see, basically, I'm getting this back section out of the way of that kidney bridge. Now I'm going to go back to kidney up, and I can raise our kidney bridge. Also important to note that our kidney bridge is now radiolucent, and it goes 4 inches up, nice and slow for the safety of the patient, and then kidney down. We also have everyone's favorite button, the return to level. Similar to the 3085, you can press and hold the return to level button and it will return your surgical tabletop to level in the most ergonomically correct way. The other button that is slightly different is the floor lock indicator. So on the 3085, you depress a button and then you press lock or unlock depending on what you want to do with the surgical table. On the 4085, you just press and hold the blue floor lock button, and the screen will tell you hold 3 seconds to unlock. And there is a green padlock that will then turn into an orange open padlock, and the screen will say unlocking. And then you'll know your table is unlocked. Then you also have an orange indicator light on the floor lock showing that you're in the unlocked position. You can press and hold floor lock, and it will say hold 1 second to lock, and then it'll tell you it's locking. So if any point you're not sure, check the LCD screen and it will indicate what you're doing. Finally, you've got a stop button. This will turn the hand control off. You can also use the stop button in case of an emergency if you need to stop the articulations quickly. Then any other button on the hand control will turn it back on. The last difference is the backup hand control. Now, you know on the 3085 that you do have backup controls in case something should happen to your hand control. You do as well on the 4085. It's just a little bit different. On the 4085, you have a drawer down here on the patient right at the base. You can put your fingers right under here and pull down, and this foot pump will come down, and there's a backup hand control tucked in this little drawer right here. So you can pull that out, and you've got full articulation capability on this hand control, just like you do on your main hand control. Important to note that this hand control is already plugged in down here, so there's nowhere to plug that in. It's already plugged in for you. And you've got all articulations to include lock and unlock. The only thing you don't have access to is return to level. And a little trick to putting this back is that you want the hand control to go on the right-hand side of this little drawer and the cables to go on the left-hand side of the drawer. So thank you all for being here with me today. I'm excited about your new 4085 tables. We'll be here for you for the first few days. If you have any questions or want to review any of the items that we went over, feel free to find us.